Good evening, good afternoon everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to a little village just outside of Bury St Edmunds. Today I thought I would show you how to create a sort of fake medium format look using a regular sort of full frame 35mm camera and also an 85mm lens. For this technique you're going to need two things. You're going to need a full frame body and you're also going to need an 85mm lens. I guess the full frame body doesn't matter too much, but to get the sort of look we're after, I definitely think that shooting it on a body like this is going to provide the look that you want. And you're also going to want to shoot between f1.4 and f2.8, and that's important because that's the sort of compression and the really shallow depth of field we're after. I would recommend shooting towards the 2.8 side of things, mainly for sharpness and clarity, but also that means that if you don't have the cash for a 1.4, you can go for a 1.8 version, which will generally knock quite a lot of money off the price. So something that I think is another really important part of getting this kind of effect is shooting a full body portrait. We've all seen our sort of favorite medium format portraits, and you can see that separation between the background and the foreground, and it's a very sort of like isolating type of image, and I think that looks really, really cool. I talked about that in my Sigma 85mm review. That's something that you can sort of achieve with an 85mm lens, and I just think it looks class, really. This is a little bit strange. I've got this new wireless lav system, so hopefully this is actually working, but I think it should be okay for now. So another really key element of getting this look is to have interesting foreground interest and a good background interest as well. I would also recommend thinking about things that can contribute to sort of the impact your image has, and that's leading lines in the back, whether there's sort of like an arch that sort of frames your subject. I think that looks really, really good, and it just sort of nails home that look that we're after. So there is actually one more way of doing this, and that's called the 50 and stitch method, which is where you take a series of images at 50mm and then you stitch them together the same way that you would a panorama. I quite like just doing it all in one go. I like to keep things simple, keep things minimal. So shooting it at 85 and creating this look is just how I like to do things. It just takes out that extra step. So we're in this beautiful location. We're at this like little creek in these woods, and Sophia and Ollie are here with me. And as you can see, there is a bit of a swing rope behind me, so I'm sure that will provide some entertainment at some point. But yeah, shall we just crack on and take some sort of fake faux medium format images? So Sophia's going to be our model for today. So if you just turn around for me, Sophia. I'm just going to take some like full length portraits. That's nice. Actually, if you just come like, can you come any more to like, yeah, there. Yeah, that's great, because you're sort of like framed by this like branch. That's great, that's so nice. I'm gonna get a bit lower. Try and get something in the foreground. Nice, there's some really lovely like light on your face. It's still so bright. The sun keeps changing. Also, the good thing about shooting this on digital versus medium format is that it's a lot less expensive to shoot it on digital. If I just taken that number of pictures on medium format, I'm probably looking at quite a hefty bill. I'm gonna shoot at 1.4. Try and stop me. Yeah, that's so nice. Yeah, like every time you hear the click, sort of like maybe try and change something up. Great. I'm gonna again just try and get a little bit lower if I can. Yeah, that's nice. Like hold your hair there. That's real nice. That's so good. So nice. I mean, these aren't like groundbreaking images, but they're serving a purpose. Tell you what though, at 1.4, nothing is in focus with this lens. So Sophia's like up here somewhere up on one of these banks, and this is going to tie into what I was talking about earlier with regards to getting like a cool foreground. So in this, I really want to get some of this bank, want to get a lot of it in the frame, probably like 2/3 full-ish of this sort of foreground, and then have Sophia sort of crouching down in the top, and I think that's going to look really, really nice. So for this, I'm actually shooting at 1.4 because it's actually pretty dark in here. I mean, the sun's sort of coming through this bit here, but the ambient light, there isn't much of it. So I think I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of sharpness for some extra light coming into the camera. All right, so if you kneel again like you were before, yeah, that looks really cool. And I'm going to fill the bottom 2/3 with the rocky outcrop. It's not rocky at all, it's just mud. It's not like I did A-level geography or anything. So this is actually quite nice because there's like a tree that sort of branches over, and then there's a couple that come up from the ground, and it creates that sort of like, what's that lens that creates that like really swirly background, but that sort of is mimicking that as well. I think it's called an Petzval Lens, or maybe, I'm not sure. Pretty sure that's a town in Austria. And then I'm actually gonna get like really low. Get a really sort of modern angle on this. Nice, just just changing up your head position. I like it sort of like cocked forward a little bit. Yeah, and then sort of point your head down again like you were before. Nice. There's definitely stuff like rumbling in the undergrowth here. Hang on, let me get a picture of the cameraman here. My younger brother, Ollie. Look at him go. That's actually such a nice picture. Actually, I quite like that setting over there now that I've just taken a picture of Ollie. Yeah. Whilst you do that, I'm gonna have a go on this swing, I think. Try not to ruin my lav. Okay, well, that's the only way. Is that Sunday lunch? Oh, I don't believe that. That's so embarrassing. I really want to get something up there as well once we're done, just because it's so, the light is so nice. That's great. And then just sort of turn your left shoulder towards me. Nice. So I know I said earlier that it's really important to shoot like full body portraits if you want to get that faux, I've got mud on my lens, that faux medium format look. But we're going to shoot some close-ups of Sophia's face just because the light is too good to be true. So we're going to see how that turns out. This probably won't have the same effect, but it's going to be a nice portrait regardless. I'm going to need to underexpose this. That's so nice. The light's like really soft on your face and like separated with the... Get your hand in the bottom as well. I want to get some of you up here. That's so nice. The framing in this shot is just... You've got this lovely like tree coming down. We've got a branch sort of going off up to the left as well. And then just some like nice foliage in the background, which just looks really, really lovely. So trying to get some leaves in the foreground here. I love a good leaf. And they're just framing Sophia really nicely. And the backlight is just creating this lovely sort of hair light on you. That is possibly one of the darkest images I've ever taken. That's so nice. I just want to shoot a bit wider because I'm considering how I'm trying to crop these and I've run out of not river. Okay, I think I lied. I think there is one more shot I think we can get, which is just sort of like if you come, because I sort of want to get this like fairy tale vibe with this image. So if you, can you go and sit on that actually? No, on that one that sticks out over there. Can you see if you can tuck those leaves in front of you behind the tree? Nice, yeah, perfect. Yeah, it was just covering your face a bit. It's now so dark in here. I'm shooting at 1600 ISO, 3/20ths of a second at 1.8. I wanted to get a little bit more sharpness and detail at 1.4. It's a little bit soft. But I think this might be the shot of the day actually. And I can actually get Sophia's reflection in this as well, just a little bit. And just sort of, yeah, just changing up your head position a bit. And maybe just like looking down into the reflection. And opening your, like uncrossing your feet. Actually cross them. Yeah, just looks a bit weird. And looking up to your left. Nice, and then your right. I think that's it. I think that's all the shots that I want to get. Shall I give this to you? Yeah? So hopefully you enjoyed that video. I actually had a lot of fun making it. It was something a little bit different, something a little bit fresh for this channel. I've just got a couple of things that I want to clear up before the end of this video. First of all, I know that this isn't even sort of close to what medium format can do. I've shot with Hasselblad 500cm. I know what that looks like on film. I've shot with a Phase 1 camera. I know what it looks like on digital. I just feel like this is sort of the closest that you're going to get without either dropping 50 grand on a Phase 1 camera or 2 grand on a Hasselblad camera and then spending God knows how much on film. So this is a pretty affordable way of sort of emulating that look. I'm not directly copying it, I'm not trying to replicate it, I'm just trying to emulate that sort of compressed background, isolated subject look. And I just think that looks really, really nice. And like I said, it looks especially great when you're doing sort of full body portraits. And the final thing to talk about is how you can crop these images. So the first one being a square crop or 1:1, that's kind of the images that you would get out of like a Hasselblad system or any sort of square format film camera. And then there's the crop of a 6:5, which is a 4:3 crop. And I quite like this crop. This is a slightly taller than a 1:1 and just looks a bit sort of medium formatty, if that makes sense. And then lastly, you can have a 4:5 crop. I quite like this one. So just a quick recap. What you want to do to get this effect is shoot at around 85mm, shoot at either 1.4 to 2.8 if you can. Try and shoot full body portraits and take into account the foreground and the background. So if there's anything in the background that can create a frame or an arch or a circle, anything to sort of compress into the image and create that interest that we want. So hopefully you found this video interesting. I know it's been a little bit different. It's not the kind of stuff that I do on my channel. I'm not a portrait photographer. I never claim to be. It's not really my sort of area of expertise. I guess you could say, in a way, taking portraits on the street, sort of candid portraits, plays into it. And actually my favourite image from this shoot is actually one of the ones I took of Ollie, where he was sort of looking towards the ground. I'll flash it up on screen. And that was just sort of off the cuff, very quick, in the moment kind of image. And I really like it. But my favourite image of the whole shoot has to be Sophia sitting on the branch. I just think this looks really cool. It's a little bit like a fairy tale image. It's just exactly what I was looking for that day, and I'm really glad I was able to come away with something that looked like that. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your continued support on this channel. I hope you have a lovely day, and I shall see you in the next video.